Good morning. Welcome to office hours for Korean natural farming. Today, July 2nd. It's July 2023. Welcome to July, and thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here. We got a lot of great people tuned in and building the KNF community week by week. Every week, office hours, KNF support. So let's see here. I wanted to start off with a little bit of higher wisdom because, hey, I am not always knowing what I'm doing, but that's okay. Step by step, day by day, we're getting there, making the world a better place together, or alone, or, however you decide for the world. But let's get some higher wisdom before we start. And today, one of the best, well, not one, it's hard to say whether your current life circumstances are good or bad. It's always we'll see, right? May seem bad, but we'll see. May seem good, but we'll see. But today, heaven over heaven, number one, the creative. If you are alert to the creative, you will meet with good fortune now. This hexagram signals a time when the fundamental creative power of the universe is available to you. An unrestricted outpouring of benevolent energy from the heavens makes possible profound progress for those who are conscientiously following proper principles. Frantic activity is not in order. Your responsibility instead is to be open and receptive to the higher power, allowing it to guide your actions. By allowing inferior thoughts and habits to pass away, you make room for an expansion of your superior qualities, which leads inevitably to good fortune. In your conduct with others, embody tolerance, reticence, and gentleness. Strive to meet others halfway in every situation. To overextend yourself or require that of another is to create an undesired imbalance. Your attitude towards the sage is the most important. Alertness and receptiveness are paramount. To receive the powerful assistance of the creative, remain humble, patient, accepting, and responsive. Careful attention to truth brings vast rewards at this time. So yeah, one of the fundamental hexagrams of the I Ching, heaven over heaven, and been a student of the I Ching here for quite some time. Always trying to get higher wisdom instead of doing my own thing. Trying to keep my ego in check because we're just a student of this grand thing we call nature. And you can tell, had a little bit of a sore throat this week. Did my OHN, my KNF medicine, took all that. It still didn't help. So sometimes I always think, wow, Korean natural farming is like a miracle thing. Korean natural farming can solve every problem. And then I get the cold reality of it didn't help me here in this situation, right? I got a little sick. My wife was sick last week and had a little sore throat, had some things. I tried to avoid it by upping my KNF medicine, all that. What ended up helping me the most, actually, I had a real sore throat, was I don't know if you can talk about this on YouTube, but chlorine dioxide. It's called MMS, Miracle Mineral Solution. I don't know, but I had a burning sore throat, and that MMS really helped out. Really made things better. I should have, actually, I think I still have some in this cup. I don't know if it's all off gas. It's chlorine dioxide. Yep. It tastes like you're drinking pool water, and you're definitely drinking like chlorine, but it doesn't affect you, like kill you or anything. It's not like drinking bleach. Um, and that chlorine just goes in and just boom, blows everything else out. So I would definitely, if I was to build upon natural farming, upon Master Cho's solutions of amazingness, I would definitely include MMS as maybe a solution that's worth spreading and promulgating amongst our community because, man, I tell you what, it's a miracle, and it's a solution. And KNF doesn't always have all the solutions, but it gives you a frame set and a tool set to work with. So happy to see everybody here. And you know what's amazing? I started this thing today, and there was a super chat to begin. So thanks, shout out to Marty Raspberry for dropping the super chat before it even began. I was like, whoa, that's never happened before. Before I even started the stream, someone super chatted, and then I see Cheryl. As soon as I'm like setting the thing up, I see Cheryl's like, aloha, and I'm like, what's up? All the way from Idaho, across the ocean in the beautiful Boise area. And then we got Goofman up in New York, Cecily down in Western Australia. It's like, man, all the cool kids tuning in. Mitchell, good to see you, man. It's been a minute, yep, for sure. And Stonemason's in the house. What's up? And Germany, yo, Solar Gourmet up there. Grandest day of all, Sunday. Well, I just try to do my thing every week. The most stubborn person in the KNF community. This guy, maybe. I don't know. And Mitchell's saying he made some Spirulina JMS yesterday that looks magical. Maybe some Spirulina JMS might have helped me out, Get the spirulina in there, get those microbes brewing. I don't know. JMS is kind of gnarly. I'm not sure I would want to drink it, but you never know. Spirulina is good stuff too. And Tanzania. I don't know how you say that. Tanzania or Tanzania. I sound like RFK. That's awful. Not quite that bad, I don't think, but he's a good candidate for president. If you listen to him, he's all about freedom, and I'm all about freedom too. And hopefully he follows through. Hopefully he gets elected. Hopefully he doesn't get shot. We'll see. But it'll be fun to make fun of him. Anyway, because watched a little bit of Corbett Report. Who's a fan of Corbett Report out there? He was talking about making fun of tyranny, right? So all the powers out there that, just make fun of them, just ridicule them. They can't really stop that. It's the best way to depower tyrants is to ridicule them, and to just, you can't stop humor, and humor has so much truth in it, right? Because you can say things that are so truthful and so painful and so amazing, but you can say it in humor, and people are like, oh. It's just like I wanted to get a shirt that says in fact, I think I might make a shirt. I'm probably gonna buy a printer. I got this printing paper that I've had for years that I used to make a bunch of shirts, but I want it to say "Get another booster." It's because humor is the way to diffuse all this craziness, right? If you're into that stuff, hey, that's cool too. In fact, that shirt could be taken as positive or negative depending on which side of the thing you're on. But I think just having another thing out there, and then I don't know, I don't want to alienate my audience, but I think I'm also going to make another shirt that has like a silhouette of an AK-47 and it says "safe and effective," because I'm a big Second Amendment guy, and having a rifle and keeping it on your farm, and it's a good tool for the farm, and it's safe and effective, I swear to you. Of all the rifles I could purchase out there, I was like, you know what? You know which one I want? I want an AK-47. It's hardly any kick. That round is heavy. It puts down pigs like you wouldn't believe. Defends the homestead with a 30. I get a whole thing with 30 round clips, and you just pop those suckers in, and it's like ain't nobody coming on the farm that ain't supposed to be, right? Yeah, my voice does seem different. I'm kind of getting over a little. Maybe it's the Rona again. round 4, whatever. I don't know. It wasn't that bad. What's bad is my voice is bad, but I sound like RFK. But I've also been working my butt off and drilling holes in rocks, and then all this rock dust hits me. So all my boogers are like tasting like rock dust. You know, when I inhale the snot, it's like all full of rock dust. Anyway, boogers. So Stonemason's asking, have you ever heard of soybean amino acid? Been reading about it being used in agriculture. Couldn't find a recipe. Would soybean fermentation be the same thing? I'm pretty sure that's what soy sauce is. I'm going to look up soy sauce, but I'm pretty sure that's, let's see here. I'm pretty sure that's what it's been doing. So when you're looking up, you know, making it from soybeans, I'm pretty sure that's what soy sauce is. Let's go over here to this side, and don't make fun of how many tabs I have open. This is just one of many windows. And I'm a big tab guy. I like tabs. But I'm pretty sure this is what it is. Made from fermented paste of soybeans, roasted grain, brine, and Aspergillus oryzae and Aspergillus sojae. A strong umami taste. So I'm pretty sure, I don't know. I don't really have time to read this right now. Not that I don't have time. It looks really long. Where's the TLDR? Can I just put this into ChatGPT and have it tell me about it? Maybe. Yeah. Koji is culturing. It takes months to make, just like fish amino acid. So you soak it and cook it. They're soaked in water and cooked. Then the Koji culturing. My cat's name is Koji, I'll just have you know. He's actually named after Koji Kondo. But it looks like it's inoculated. And then fermented here. Oh, there's lactobacillus in it. Yep. You can't stop that lactobacillus. Most powerful microbe in the Milky Way, of course, helping. Makes lactate. It increases the acidity in the feed. Then it's brewing. You put in a salt brine. Over the time, Aspergillus mold on the soybean. The weight break down into free amino acid and protein fragments and starches and simple sugars. There you go. So soy sauce is breaking them down into free amino acids and protein fragments and starches. That's what we're looking for. And lactic acid bacteria ferments the sugars into lactic acid, and yeast makes ethanol. So you're also getting some alcohol in there. Through the aging and secondary fermentation, it makes numerous flavor compounds typical of soy sauce. So I reckon this is a very similar process to the fish amino acid thing that's going on. And then they press it. We don't press the fish amino acid, but I'm sure you wanted to press this soy sauce out because you really don't want to eat the soybeans that much. But the isolated solids are used as fertilizer. Oh, the solids. Or to feed animals, where the liquid soy sauce is processed further. So, so they're actually making, so maybe soy sauce is a way to make amino acids as well. It says pasteurization, then they heat it to eliminate any active yeasts and molds remaining. And the soy sauce can be filtered to remove fine particulates. The soy sauce can then be aged or directly bottled and sold, depending on how cheap you are. So there you go. It, soybeans, soy sauce, Koji, like fermenting it, it looks like, that's what they're doing. It's very similar to the fish amino process, except for they're adding Koji and cooking it. At least it's not actually similar at all, but the outcomes are similar. You're getting, lactobacillus and these other things. It would be interesting. I've never sent the fish amino acid to the lab or anything to have them look at it, but I'm pretty sure, they'd have that acid hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Some brands are made from this acid hydrolyzed instead of brewed with a traditional culture. It takes about 3 days. So I assume, you could do something similar with the fish and shortcut these things. And then the thing is, although they have a different flavor and aroma and texture when compared to brewed soy sauces, they can reproduce more quickly and cheaply and have a longer shelf life, usually made for these reasons. So you can also hydrolyze fish and like break it down real fast and do these other things, but your product, you know, when they're talking about flavor and aroma and the different textures and the different aminos and all these different things, yeah, these are the different, you know, liquid aminos. Some higher priced vegetable protein products with no added sugar and colorings are sold as low sodium soy sauce alternatives called liquid aminos. I wonder if this is what the Bragg's liquid aminos is. Yeah, so anyway, there's these other ways to do it. These products, however, are not necessarily low in sodium. Fake news. Yeah, as if Wikipedia is a credible source. Yeah, right. But you know, it's good for looking at stuff and at least getting a basic idea of what, you know, where you should do further research that's, you know, a little bit better than that. But yeah. So anyway, there's probably different ways to break down things into amino acids, and I bet you could do similar things with a fish. High salt liquid state fermented soy sauce. So what are these? I guess they're adding the salt. I don't know. I don't want to read this right now. And then there's a low salt solid state fermented soy sauce. Oh, here's something interesting. This is talking about Soviet Union. Low salt solid state fermentation, and even faster method working at higher temperatures. So they're cooking the crap out of it, 122 to 149. It's like a overheating IMO pile. And it takes 72 hours to complete. Introduced in China from the Soviet Union in 1958. So this is a communist invention. If you're cooking your soybeans, you're doing communist things. And there's nothing wrong with communityism. Anyway. Yeah, so the aging time turned out to be too short to get a good flavor profile, and the burnt acidic notes were left in the soy sauce. So, you know, anytime you're adding heat, you're denaturing proteins and all these things. So I'm not sure, you know, what's the nutritional quality and difference and benefit of these things, but it's interesting that there's these different ways to extract things. And I bet you, you know, if you really applied the science to Korean natural farming, you'd find, you know, you could get to these processes different ways, but following Master Cho's recipes, I'm pretty sure you'll find they're like next to optimum in terms of nutrition value, flavor, aromas, all these things that are like indicators to us of higher quality, right? So it's saying these are these compromise between the methods and reducing the content by salt and all these things, chemical composition. So they're looking at this, you know, I mean, if somebody really wanted to get a super PhD, you could just explore the heck out of natural farming things. Interesting thing here, the primary fermentation of lactic acid fermenting halophiles lowers the pH of the maromi, and this directly results in the acidic range of the soy sauce. And then, so the first thing that happens is the lactic acid lowers the pH, and then the secondary fermentation, the heterofermentive microbes, provides soy sauce with a wide range of flavor and odorant compounds, breaking down macronutrients. So I think this is what happens in the fish amino acid too, in the knfFuel, right? The first thing that takes over is the lactobacillus, and that's what you want to have happen. I don't know what the heck halophiles are, but here's the whole thing on lactic acid fermentation, metabolic process. And then heterofermentive microbes. And this is just fermentation in general, linking to it. Soy proteins and grains are hydrolyzed and short peptide chains and free amino acids, which adds umami to the product. So umami, what I understand is like MSG, right? Monosodium glutamate. I don't know. I don't know if they're the same. I think umami is a flavor, but MSG just happens to have umami flavor. But it's these proteins. It's like these proteins that your body knows. That's just like, yes, I want those, because you need to build that out of that. Yeah, it's a flavor profile. Cool. But it's usually related to proteins and or like cooked meat, right? So based on the result of free amino acid analysis, the most abundant amino acids in Chinese soy sauce are glutamic acid, aspartic acid, alanine, and leucine. So I'm pretty sure, yeah, you could also check out the fish amino acid. Why not? See what's in there. I bet you, like get into like the connoisseur fish amino acids, where it's like, oh yeah, this is the best. Let me turn on my mouse thing. See, I don't know. You guys can see where my mouse is, but now it's better. Soy sauce may contain more than 1% alcohol and may run afoul of liquor control legislation. Getting drunk on soy sauce. Just like other natural farming things, through fermentation, that alcohol is actually very vital for its functioning. So, you'd have to drink a lot of soy sauce to get drunk. You'd probably die of salt poisoning first, is my guess. Sodium overdose. But yeah, so I bet you fish amino acid also has alcohol in it. And because there's yeasts in there, right? They're breaking down the sugars and all those things, creating alcohol, getting lit. Turnt, I think is the name. Not lit, turnt. They're getting turnt. Non-enzymatic browning also. Well, this is more interesting than I thought. Thanks for that question. I guess this is like the creative doing these things. Yeah, so soy sauce is salty than umami. See, in this, I wonder if you could do the same thing with sugar and make a sweet soy sauce instead of a salty soy sauce. So I'd be interested in this process, taking the KNFFuel recipe, like just, adding how you add fish and sugar, but just add beans and sugar and see if you get that same thing happening. And go for a sweet soy sauce versus a salty soy sauce, right? Yeah, so the sensory profile, this is so cool. These same things for all the recipes we make. Imagine there's a huge Wikipedia articles on that KNF stuff. So the Chinese do it differently than the Burmese. They have light ones. I'm not going to read all this. It's way too long. Filipinos make it, Hawaiian soy sauce. Oh, bro, you get the kind soy sauce. Yeah, bro. Okay, we're going to read the Hawaiian one. Stay short. All right. Soy sauce is very popular condiment and marinade in many Hawaiian cuisine. Bro, Aloe shoyu is on soy sauce made on the islands. Soy sauce is known by its Japanese name, shoyu. Less common, shoyu in Hawaiian. Yeah, bro. Guarantee soy sauce is like one staple, bro. You go sit down on the table, no more soy sauce, bro. You get up, leave. Right there, on speed. And Aloha shoyu, that's the one, bro. Gotta eat them every time, bro. Unreal. How's that one? You're not getting the kind. What is the other one? What is the other brand in Hawaii? I forget. But there's like the battle of the two shoyus or soy sauces. Kiko Man, that's the one. Bro, what is it? Kiko Man, noise, bro. I only eat Aloha. Yeah. You can tell I lived in Hawaii all my life, right? This white guy, but bro, can speak that kind of pigeon and what? Unreal. Roger that. What? Nah, Roger that only came out when after I left the islands. And then I went to school in Montana, and came back, and everyone was like, Roger that, Roger that. I'm like, where the heck did this come from? And it turns out there's different dialects of pidgin. I speak Hilo pidgin. Oh, man, where you graduate? Oh, Hilo High, no can tell what. Yeah, Koji is mold in East Asia. What's Koji come from? Okay. Yeah, so we're getting deep into this type of fermentation. It's always interesting to explore different types of fermentation. Yeah, okay. So getting down into these. Yeah, don't grow if you eat too much soybeans, especially raw, it's not necessarily the best for you. Yeah. And George up here in Latvia got a 6-month-old fish amino acid. Bro, you know what? People aren't going to even eat soy sauce after they discover fish amino acid. It's going to just be amazing to taste. Yeah, the 2-year-old FAA. Goofman saying he has 2-year-old FAA that was amazing tasting. Bro, I'll go up to my barn and I have like really old batches of fish aminos. In fact, there's some right outside this porch, right outside right outside the office. There's just I have buckets of fish amino acid just everywhere. It's so good. It's like especially when I seal it and I don't let the bugs or maggots get in there. If the maggots get in there, they eat out all the sugary stuff. It tastes bitter. It's not that great. Don't let insects get in there, maggots get in there. But the good stuff, oh man, it's connoisseur. I had this kid come over and visit the other day, and I was like, "This is raw fish and sugar that I put in a bucket and rotted." He's like, "Ugh," and I'm like, "No, taste it." And I tasted it first. I'm like, "Oh, bro, it's so good." And then he's like, "No, I'm not gonna taste it." And then finally, he's like like a 18, 19-year-old kid. Finally, I was like, "Bro, come on, what?" Do you even lift, bro? And I started to like question his ego and get him into like a position where he's like, oh, oh, oh. And he tried it, and I'm like, how's it? And he's like, it's pretty good. And I'm like, yeah. So you didn't want to try it, and now you have it, and it's good. It's like it's pretty gnarly to eat fish and sugar that you put in a bucket years ago, but oh, it's so good. If you know, you know. They make it in Indonesia, and they call it ketchup. That's how good it is down there. Oh, bro, what is that? Oh, is ketchup? This ketchup's kind of funky, bro. Oh, yeah, and it has a similar to fish sauce. See, in Indonesia, they know what's up. They're doing this Worcestershire, England sauce. They're eating it down there. So, fish aminos, all this. Japanese shoyu. I'm not going to read all this. I mean, I'm just going to scroll over it fast. I can't read that fast. Oh, bro, but look, if you go to Japan, look how much choice there is in shoyu. Oh, yeah, we only get 2, but Japan, bro, I get like 10. In fact, I heard like soy sauce brewing is like very, like, your grandpa's good when he grows good soy sauce. Look at this. There's different varieties. There's a thick taste, a thin taste. There's a Chuba variety. There's a Shiro variety. Oh, yeah. That one's like tamari. Oh, no, it's not tamari. It uses mostly wheat and very little soybean. So you can make soy sauce from wheat and not even soybean. I wonder if you can make fermented wheat sauce. Who's going to try that? Twice brewed. Bruh, I never even brew them once. I brew them twice. Why did I just do that? And then kuchi sauce. Man, I wonder if you could get this much into like KNFFuel. Like you have like, oh bro, this one is from the ahi. This one's from the mahi mahi. This one's from the what are their sea creatures? I don't know. The ono. So that's tuna, barracuda, and what is ono? Ono's also barracuda, maybe. I don't know. I don't know the English names of the fishes, but I only know Hawaiian names. And then there's new reduced salt, light salt. There's cheap ones, mixed, Congo, Kongu. Yeah, but I bet you could make just this connoisseur thing. Koreans even eat this stuff. Look at this. There's all these names. We should probably read the Korean ones since we're here for Korean natural farming. Meju. But this is the kind of stuff that you could dive deep into if you really wanted to like do Korean natural farming gnarly, and you get these nice clay jars. Look at that. Oh, that's a nice one. That doesn't look like some great fish amino acid that someone made. And they got their Korean slippers on. Dark soy sauce, new soy sauce. Yeah, I'm not gonna read all this. It's way too long. Man, talk about, some Wikipedia articles are like short. This one is so long. They make it from black beans. Yeah, how's that in Taiwan? The Thai ones. Soy sauce, Vietnam. Let's see. Nutrition. Oh my gosh, it turns out it's good for you. Oh, there's carcinogens in there. I bet you can find carcinogens in anything though. Especially if you treat it with chemicals right before you harvest it. Let's see. What is this? This has energy in it. It has fat in it. It has carbs. It has fiber. It has proteins. It has sodium. But what does it really have in it? I bet you, it's just, you could do the nutritional part. Unpasteurized soy sauce is rich in lactic acid bacteria and an excellent anti-allergenic potential. Anti-allergenic potential. I'm just bringing this up because it's talking about this. I'm talking about probably fish amino acids, similar things here. I just happen to be talking about soy sauce because that was the question that was asked. But anti-allergenic potential. Okay. I'll just reflect on that again. And they studied, the National University of Singapore showed that the Chinese dark soy sauce contains 10 times the antioxidants of red wine. Okay. So my guess, I'm just speculating here, but fish amino acid, same thing. The KNFFuel, I'm just going out on a limb to say same thing. I have no idea if that's true, but I bet you it is. I bet you it is. I bet you if you study the fish amino acid, you would be like, oh my gosh, this has 20 times the antioxidants of red wine. Antioxidants, right? Aren't those healthy, like, buzzwords to drop? I'm telling you. Like, because there's not that much research on fish amino acid directly, but this is like a meta analog of it, right? I bet you it's the same thing. Okay, so they're dissing it on the salt, but if we use sugar, it's going to not have the salt. Oh, let's see, carcinogens. Do we even want to read that? It has monopropane in it. Monochloropropane. What? Yeah. Who knows? Everything has toxins in it these days. Let's just skip that. Allergies. Soy sauce allergy not caused by soy or wheat allergy is rare. I don't know what the heck that is. Okay, so they're saying, I wonder if you still get, anyone who's allergic, do you still get irritated by soy sauce? And if, especially high quality soy sauce? I don't know. However, protein hydrolysis, fermentation, or industrial breaks down gluten. Excuse me. So some soy sauces may end up tolerable to gluten intolerant individuals with no detectable gluten left. So see, again, fermentation breaking down toxins like gluten. Well, I don't know if gluten's a toxin, but people tend to be allergic to it these days. But I think that's from other things. But Japanese tamari soy sauce is traditionally wheat-free, and some tamari is available commercially today is wheat and gluten-free. So, oh, hey, how about this one? Acid hydrolyzed vegetable protein is non-allergenic due to the completeness of protein breakdown. So again, fish amino acid breaking down proteins. Like if you were allergic to protein, I don't know who is, but it would break these things down. And this is, again, coming back to like fermentation, other things of like, I'm allergic to so-and-so. Well, ferment it first, and then you're not allergic to it, right? You can still get the nutrition out of it without having that allergic response. So again, just reinforcing, Korean natural farming, fermentation, fish amino acid, fermented plant juice, KNFFood, fuel, all these better names to call these things. But look at that. All these things of, fermentation, just making something better. And races from all over the world, races, I don't know if that's what you're supposed to ethnic people, cultural people, even Hawaiians, bruh. All over the world making this stuff. Why? Because they know how good it is. They want these aminos and they want all these things. So that's what happens when you let the creative take over. You end up reading a Wikipedia article about soy sauce for a half hour. Thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for hanging in there. Hopefully that was useful to you. Yeah. So yeah, also, I'm going to try soy fermentation, also green bean this year. Yeah, ferment everything, Stonemason. Just give it a try. Ferment everything, because you never know what you're going to unlock, like proteins, better things that are better for you. And then Solar Gourmet is saying that Koji, which is the bacteria that they're putting in there, the mold thing they're putting in there. I'm not sure if it's a bacteria or fungi, but fungal. I'm not sure. But Koji produces the enzyme lipase when growing or on steamed rice, which breaks down the proteins in soybeans into amino acids in a second step. Yeah. So, and these bacteria, they're probably naturally occurring if you just let it go too. But these, you'll have a primary fermentation, and you'll have secondary fermentation, and even tertiary fermentation. And so these traditional methods of having time do it versus just crush it and make it in 3 days. Like you let time do it, where the first fermentation happens, and the second fermentation, the third, the fourth, all this complex biological process of one microbe breaks it down, then the next microbe breaks it down, then the next microbe breaks it down, these different families and generations happening. That's what makes things good, versus you just try to take a process and speed it up and crush it in a tube and watch the hydraulic press channel on YouTube. Let's try and mush beans into soybeans immediately. That kind of stuff is wild, right? But this is what makes these things happen. Okay, there's a sweet soy sauce, but they basically boil soy sauce with sugarcane. That's interesting. So halophiles are microorganisms that are adapted to live in environments with high salt environments. Oh, halophiles. Okay, thanks for answering that, because it was saying up here halophile. It said halophile ferments. I don't know where it was. It was somewhere in the article. You're not even looking at my screen that I'm looking at anymore, but it did say it said heterofermentive. Oh, lactic acid fermenting halophiles. Okay, halophiles means they go with high salt. The more you know. Thanks. I don't know every word out there, but that's a good one to know. Thanks. You guys are so smart. Thanks, Foxdog. I appreciate that. That's always why it's nice to have a community instead of just one person. I really enjoy those things. And Solar Gourmet says there's a wonderful book all about this called Koji Alchemy. So let's look that up. Koji Alchemy. Let's see. It's on the Amazon. We'll just go to the Amazon. I love Jeff Bezos. I'm not gonna not. Oh, look at this book. Okay. Guess who's adding it to their cart? Ooh, me. Improve your skills with people. Obviously, I need this one, because I don't have much skills with people. But I'm adding it to my cart. I'm getting it in hardcover, because the thing is, if you get it in Kindle, they may change it on you, right? There's only... it's in stock. Okay. I was like, there's only 5 in stock. I was like, guys, don't buy it until I do. What else is my cart? I was looking up. Ooh, that. I'm not going to buy that anymore. And I still want that, and I still want that. Buying electronics. Yeah, cool. Well, that's great. I'm going to get that Koji Alchemy. That sounds like a great one to have in my library. Thank you. Where the heck? Okay, my chat. I'm Koji produces enzyme lipase when growing on steam. Oh, yeah, I already read that. Okay. Should I open my FAA jar? I have 3 more buckets fermenting. I'm not gonna use it up anytime soon unless I find out if it's tasty. Yeah, there's no problem opening up the FAA jar. It's not, you don't want to actually keep your FAA anaerobic. You want to let it be somewhat aerobic. I mean, the lactic acid is going to keep it from being too bad because it's facultatively anaerobic. But yeah, no worries. Open it up, man. You can open it and reseal it. FAA. I seal it because I don't want bugs and maggots and stuff getting in there. We have black soldier flies around here that are crazy. I gotta itch my nose and drink a little bit of stuff here. You guys like my Jon Levi Tartarian mug. If you don't know who Jon Levi is, look him up, man. He'll blow your mind. It's all about like just the false history that we live under. I love that kind of stuff. Whether it's true or not, doesn't matter. It opens my mind and expands it. I think he's also into it. That kind of earth, and I'm not. I'm a round guy. I know too much. Okay. So he's saying, Foxdog is saying FAA fish amino acid. The knfFuel is just Worcestershire sauce minus the salt, herbs, and onions and more sugar. That's amazing. I didn't know that. Maybe I should start a, oh my God, my head. Maybe I should start a Worcestershire sauce business. I don't know. What's up, Joe? And he says, hello, Drake. I'm making fermented seawater. Oh, good. There's a lot of conflicting info on timing. I diluted seawater with 30 to 1 with rainwater, LAB 1,000 to 1. So protectors, and then food 500 to 1. What are the signs when it's ready? You know, I think it's bubbling is what happens. It just slightly bubbles. Actually, Master Cho says it turns cloudy, but let's go to the direct source, because don't just take my word for it. Let's go to Master Cho's old stuff here. Oh, can I find it in a reasonable amount of time? Hang on. I want to pull up his older book here. Hang on. I have so much other stuff open. We're working on some really cool projects lately that I can't quite disclose yet. Because they're awesome, and I don't want to talk about things before I get them really like out there. Okay, hang on, my brain. I'm trying to multitask. I'm gonna go to Master Cho's books that I have here, and I'm gonna pull up not that one. Where's his old recipe book? Ah, there it is. The OG of OGs of OG. And I'll pull this up so you can see what I'm looking at. But this is Master Cho's OG book. If you have this one, you are amazing. This one's circulated around the internet plenty. Okay, but let's stay focused and let's go to the thing here. And we're looking for number 13 here. So there's not like page numbers or anything, but it's number 8. Let's go to 13. Oh, wow, that was amazing. I can't believe how accurate I was on that. You know, the power of the creative. Okay, so let's zoom in here a little bit. And let's go to... Oh, why does it scroll so slow? Okay, so he's talking about fermented seawater right here. He's saying mix seawater 1 to 30, rice wash water 1 to 200. So that's going to add your starch into it. Add knfFood, specifically the mugwort and dropwort, 1 by 500 together, and keep the mixture for half a day in the summer, 2 to 3 days if cloudy. Use the mixture when it becomes whitish like haze. Okay, so that's directly from the Master Cho book. So that's what he's saying. And then it says fermented seawater becomes easily unusable because of its abundant nutrients. When fermented seawater goes bad, the haze gathers like a cotton ball. Use the fermented seawater right away when it becomes whitish. It cannot be stored. So here you go. This is like from the OG book. This is like, you know, from the old school stuff. And then let's go up here and let's see a little bit about fermented seawater. I don't know why my thing, I did get a new mouse, but I don't know why it scrolls so slowly side to side. I gotta up the game on that. Get it going faster for me. Okay, so once you've made that fermented seawater, however, how to use it as for increasing sugar content in the fruit, apply seawater with water-soluble calcium. Nah, that's just regular seawater. Seedling treatment, that's again the regular seawater. Prevent feather loss in chickens, that's again regular seawater. Every other day. Okay, but here's the fermented seawater. Prevents and controls anthracnose. Add liquid IMO4, KNF medicine, and KNF structure to the fermented seawater for increased microbial activity. So that's basically all he's talking about, is controlling anthracnose. But it also, he would talk about how it helps with drought and these other things, all kinds of other things that he puts in there. So yeah, so anyway, this is the old OG source. There's a bunch of sources. There's about, the more you look into KNF, you'll find that there's different people say different things. There's even this other guy that has this recipe calculator out there that's like completely wild and different than what Master Cho has traditionally promulgated. So there's all kinds of stuff out there of people making things. But for me, I always go back to the original source. I always go back to my source documents, because I I'm not perfect. I make up things. I try to stay as you know, as legit as I can, but you know, the brain's only so much. It can only handle, like, you know, 15 years of KNF going in, compressing it and coming out, right? You know, but I love reading things. I love getting multiple sources of this. So, and then Joe is saying he has 2-year-old FAA for mackerel that tastes amazing. This, you know, maybe we should have a international fish amino tasting competition or something, like where it's like we get all this diversity, because just like those different soy sauces, we're all making different fishes and different things from all over the world. And how cool would that be? Like, you know, I just renewed knfconference.com, but back before 2020, I used to go around and have conferences, and then people would come and then we'd have tasting contests and all these great things. And really need to get back into that. I mean, I say I really do. I have so many things going on. Do I have time for that? Maybe. I don't know. Trying to build a global community. This works. I show up every Sunday. You gotta give me credit there. Every Sunday I can, even when I'm kind of sick. Not that I'm trying to get you to make super chats, but you know, come on. Okay. So, hey, how would I make aloe fermented plant juice? Just like normal, I would take the aloe and I would add 1/3 sugar to it. I would cut it up, not shred it or anything, but I'd cut it kind of, you know, like if this is the thing, like an aloe leaf, I'd cut it this way and just split it open. You know, I'd obviously cut the bottom first and then split it open this way. And then I'd add 1/3 the amount of sugar by weight. So if I had 3 pounds of aloe, I'd add 1 pound of sugar into it. And then I just kind of stir it around lightly and then let it go. And just follow the same knfFood recipe to making aloe plant juice. It's going to be amazingly juicy. You're going to get tons of juice out of it. And then after I pour off the juice, separate out the solids, pour off the liquid, then I would add enough sugar to super saturate it. And that's what I do. That's just pretty simple on that. I love the aloe. If I had big aloe plants, I'd be doing that all the time. I just have a little bit for sunburns and stuff. Okay. I think the rice wash water is a quick version of the protectors. I noticed that in a few articles. The fermented seawater is actually really close to the JMS recipe, the disgustingly cheap microbes. And Young Sung Cho, when they developed these recipes, was working with Master Cho, and then they had a falling out for several years, and then they got back together for a few brief years when we brought them back together, and then now, you know, such as the story of what's going. So no drama like Korean drama, let me tell you. You ever watch Korean dramas? I get to live one in real life. It's super fun. I love working with those guys because I try to keep my head balanced and follow the I Ching and the Sage and all these things. But you know what? It's getting to that time of being like, we only got 10 minutes left, so and no more questions. I spent a fair amount of time talking about soy sauce today. In fact, most of the show was about soy sauce. Amazing. Thanks for sticking through it. It was amazing to me. I learned a lot. It's always fun to learn live. But let's drop into this over here. So there's Master Cho. I love you. Big love to Master Cho. I seriously, good thoughts, good vibes your way, man. I don't know where I'd be without this man. He's really the best. But let's drop into his presentation here, then try and finish this up, because we're getting close. We're on slide 253, and I can see the scroll bar. We're getting down here towards the bottom. And we're into livestock, right? Last time we were talking about the welfare. We're talking about, you know, a chicken barn. I showed videos where I went to this chicken house. We're getting into this. And then now, we're getting into the feeding. Darn, I was supposed to do homework and research for this, and I didn't. Because I'll have to do more on the chickens, because we just hatched some chickens a couple days ago, so they're eating the brown rice like you see them in this picture here. And I did do a whole chicken thing. So if you're really interested in the whole chicken thing, you can check out my YouTube, click the thing below, you know, comment, like, subscribe, all this crap you got to say when on YouTube. You know, don't do any of that unless you want to. And if you look at my channel, you'll find the basic chicken poultry workshop, and it's super intense. It's like We trained for like 10 days on chickens in Korea. So number one thing is when you get your chickens, the difference between Master Cho's stuff and other things is for the first 3 days, you exclusively feed them brown rice. Exclusively. Meaning there's not other foods in there. There's just brown rice and water. Right? You give them drink and brown rice to eat. And what happens is these chicks fill up with brown rice. You'll feel the front of their their thing. And they're full of brown rice. What is that? And it's not cooked. It's not cooked. It's hard brown rice. And the point is that the brown rice has a tough outer shield on it. And the rice just like they pack themselves full of it. And what it does is it stretches their intestines out. And so later, by making your intestines literally will be about twice the length of a normal chicken's intestines, maybe even 3 times the length of the intestines. And it's because you've stretched these intestines out through this diet and this recipe of the way to do it. And when they have longer intestines, then when they eat food later in life, they will have more chance to digest that as it moves through them. And they'll grow better for less quality or like less nutritious food, like grasses and things. They'll get more nutrition out of it. And, they'll get these things out of there. Hey, thank you, Stonemason. You're awesome, man. I really, it's always nice. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And give me my time, man. I love it. Going through Korean natural farming, learning with soybeans with you guys. What could be better? So anyway, the chickens, they stretch out their intestines. They get those things longer. Then the food goes in them. They have 3 times the digestive capacity of other chickens, which raises the digestible index, right? That's why you feed them brown rice for the first 3 days exclusively. They will pack themselves through it. Then, and then he's also talking about making his own feed, right? This is feed that is made. Look, there's like, what is that? Sweet potatoes or some kind of grass that he's fermenting here. Sweet potatoes themselves, sweet potato tops, IMO 4. Looks like some mill run was mixed in there. That they're kind of fermenting and making these fermented feeds, right? And as this feed ferments, the soybean or I'm talking about soybeans still. Sweet potatoes and sweet potato tops mixed with IMO 4, breaks down. You can make feed for your chickens at less cost, right? So they'll eat all this. You grind it up, put it there. It'll ferment in a pile. Let it get nice and hot. It kind of cooks it, and then you'll make feed from next to nothing. So you increase their digestibility, then they can get nutrition out of these things. Then the next thing after you start them on the brown rice is right after that is you go for the next 5 to 14 days, 5 to 11 days. So day 5 to day 4, I don't know. Anyway, right after you're done, let's just say day 4. You still give them brown rice. You give them brown rice up until 2 weeks old, but now you introduce in the morning when you go to feed them finely chopped bamboo, and it's like finely chopped. Like imagine it's like millimeter by millimeter finely chopped bamboo, or centimeter between a centimeter and a millimeter, like really finely chopped bamboo. And the chicks when they're little, you put down first you take, I don't know, I mean I'm not going to go through this the best, but you feed them boiled egg, so whites and yolk both grated really finely, and you put that in there, and that gives them the protein that gives them back mother's milk. If you're trying to learn from this, you should probably check out the chicken thing, but the idea is that you get them the protein, and then you drop in, I gotta sneeze. Wow. But you drop in the protein, like the egg, in addition to the brown rice, you drop the egg, and then right after that, you put the bamboo. Oh, man. I feel like you're gonna sneeze again. I muted that one for you guys. So the idea is that you get them back the protein, like the boiled egg, is they need that. And then the chopped up bamboo, and it's just put in for a short bit. How do I grind it up? I use a really fine grater. So I'm also Fine grater. So like I'm talking about like this kind of grater, like not like this is like a regular cheese grater, but I'm talking about like one of these, like a lemon zester type of grater, where this one here, you know, you see how fine that thing is? It's not like the regular cheese grater. This thing is like that's like a grater thing. It's for like making lemon zest. You see how fine this stuff comes out? Like this is the kind of grater I use. So I hard boil the eggs, and then I use a fine grater. Look how fine that thing is. It's not just fine. Yeah, so I use a fine, really fine grater to do it. And that's what I do is I finally grate that, and then I cut the bamboo with scissors. I kind of roll the leaves into a bundle and then cut them, just like keep angling it back and forth and cutting them. And you'll see, I learned that technique in Korea from Master Cho, and actually from Mrs. Lee. And she was like, this is how you do it. She's like, no, I was cutting the leaves too big. She's like, no, this way. And cut them real fine, chop them up. And you want to cut them kind of fresh each day. But the idea is you put down the egg, the chickens go nuts. They eat the egg. They really love it. They'll go into a frenzy. And then you put the bamboo in, just enough for them to eat. And they'll eat all that within about 5-10 minutes. And then after they're done eating that, they go into it. You know, you want them to frenzy because you want them to like desire that stuff. Then you put in their other feeds there, and just enough so that they'll run out by 2 hours before you feed them again tomorrow. And that's how to raise laying chickens. Broilers, you just put down the feed so they never run out. And you can probably give them a little bit more egg because you really want them to get big fast. I'm not sure what he's showing in these other pictures. Maybe they're making some feeds. Oh, man. This office hour is taxing on me today. Oh, more Oichen. More Oichen. I've been doing Oichen and milk because someone suggested it last week. It's a good idea. But they'll eat all these fruits and all these things. So anyway, strength and digestive capacity. I've gone over this before, but I'll go. Oh yeah, here. So there's the egg yolk. You see it? And it's not just the yolk. It's actually the whole egg. You don't need just the yolk. But it says from 4 days to 2 weeks. So there you go. He says it right there. 4 days to 2 weeks. You put in the egg yolk, and you see how fine it is. This blurry picture, clearly, but that's the kind of grater I use to do it. And then you know, he's all about the welfare of the chickens, so replicating their original deal. Their brooder box, if you it has a little mat. It's a elevated thing. There's this cloth that hangs down to simulate them going under their mother's wing. They go into this brooder box. They get really warm. Usually the heater's put under this brooder box. And so it's nice and warm for them. And there's venting up the back so it doesn't get moisture in there, because if little chicks get wet, they die. And so he's really thinking about the mother's thing. So if you're looking for those, you know, videos are probably better than just this picture here. But here's his brooder box design of what you're looking at. You know, the little water on this side, and then their little box. You put a pile of brown rice just outside the door, so as they come out through the cloth, they'll hit this pile of brown rice and they'll eat. And then this is the first partition until day 2, right? You keep them in this small area, and then every 3 days you expand out their house, so that then they start running from the area that's warm out to where their water is, which moves further and further away, and they'll run back and forth, and that'll help them. If you just put them in such a big area and you don't contain the size of the area, they will size irregularly, meaning you'll get big chickens and small chickens. If you contain them all in the same area and you keep it just small enough, they will all size correctly. And so under this brooder box, like I said, there's a heater. He's using a compost pile, about 60 inches, 67 inches in depth. So, and then there's a sloping floor. Like I said, in this box, the floor actually slopes back, so that way they can get to the back of the thing and it's warmer. And then here's the ventilation pipe, and then on top of that, they insulated it with rice hulls. So there's different dimensions here. For layers, you put them in a smaller box, and for broilers, you put them in twice as big of a box. And usually this is starting like 100 and 130 or 120 hens for laying, or 200 chickens for broilers. So if you're doing broilers, that's why it's twice as big, because you're adding basically twice as many chickens. And for layers, it's just this big, so 35 inches, which I don't, yeah, I guess it's 3 feet. Yeah, it's about right. Yeah. So that's what it is. And then here's a little bit more of looking at the broiler box. Initially, he dug a pit, fills that up with compost. Then you're looking at the brooder box coming out. There's this ramp that's coming down for them. So they're on this little ramp. They can get into the back. The lid will go over that. So you see how it gets smaller as they go up the back of the ramp. Then he usually puts a straw mat over this so that they can climb this wood a little bit better. And this is where your sheet would hang down. So if you look at it, here's the mat going up, the brooder box, little cage in front. There's their water. They're going into the back. It's insulated in there. There's the aeration pipes coming out the back so that it manages the heat in there without having them sweat. And then the water drips out the bottom instead of dripping in there. And you can manage this by opening and closing it to make more or less water or air go in there. And you cover it, right? There's this cover that goes on top, and then that's filled with rice hulls. And there should be a little sheet coming down here, but usually it's just stapled on right at the end. But that's the basic idea. The heating thing underneath the compost pile coming up, it heats this up. They're in this little room. They can go in the back if they want to get hot. If they want to cool off, they come outside and then they cool off. And so they can manage their own heat. So it's a really cool, innovative brooder box design here that Master Cho has. Seen in action, it works really well. I always build a ghetto version of this because I only hatch about 12, 15, 20 chickens at a time instead of like 120. So I build a ghetto version of this, but it works really well, especially if you're doing commercial bird raising. So with that, we're at the hour. I need to stop. Well, here, I'll show you. Yeah, okay. We'll finish up to this. Okay, so we'll finish up these last 3 slides here because they kind of have to do with the brooder box, and I'll keep on topic there, and then I'll be out of here. I probably need to save my voice here. So the laying chicken process of releasing. So this is basically their brooder box was in the back, and in day 2, they're just in this small little thing, right? The 40, and this is they're in their regular chicken pen, right? Here's their regular chicken pen. It's big. And the thing is, you put it about 40 inches from the back, and this thing's 35 inches. The reason is because eventually this is where their roost will be. But in the beginning, they're in this brooder box, right? And this is where their box will be. That's why you start it in this exact position, right? Because they're in their room that you're going to have them eventually in, but they're in this back area. And then the first couple days, it's this small thing here. It's just they're running back between their brooder box and the water, and then there's a little feeder. You put it against the wall, and they'll eat out of here after they're done. But their pile of brown rice is right outside their door. And then by day 5, you make it bigger, and then they'll have their water out here, and then there's 2 feeders because they're gonna eat more food, right? Day 8, you're extending this thing all the way from here out to here. Their water moves out here, and they're now starting to eat, still 2. Day 11, their feeder actually gets bigger. So by day 11, that's the equivalent of like a 7-year-old child. And their thing gets bigger. It enables them to get out here. And the dimension of their watering pipes also changes. It's pretty small holes, 1.8 inches to start. And then eventually out here, their water, you can see the water getting bigger between these if you really look. These have bigger holes. And then eventually, after day 30, once they get out here, they have the big water with the huge holes in it, right? The 4-inch holes, basically. And that's their standard water. So their water changes, the size of their feeder changes, and the size of their pen changes as you get them out. And this is the way to like fully embrace the little chicks and give them the best start to life. And you know, expanding this out, and then by day 30 they get out of this whole thing and they're fully out into their environment. And then you put their roost back here above their brooder box. And originally in the beginning, you can take these walls down and stuff after you let them out, but they'll just go in their brooder box until they then graduate to getting up on the roost. And I think when about half your chickens or something are up on the roost, then you take the brooder box away. And that forces the rest of them to get up onto the roost. But the original alpha chickens will get up on the roost early. So there's a whole method to how you do this. And Master Cho is really amazing at how he does it. But like I said, this is kind of a preview of what he's showing. And then you want to see the whole thing, check out, you know, my other videos. And here's an example of it, you know, raising these chickens, their little thing. He puts this little cover on the top because they will try and jump out. So here they are running back and forth, you know, their brooder box in the back, their water in the front, the chicks running back and forth. Their water obviously gets bigger here. You can see they kind of have this U-shaped water here. Got to make sure they have enough water, right? Chickens, they get thirsty, man. They drink a lot of water. But they go from tiny little chicks in their brooder box all the way out to bigger chicks here. And look, they're all the same size. They're all really nice. They're comfortable in their environment. And eventually after day 30, you take this away. So that's how the chickens are released. So with that, done with the brooder box, we'll get to the water pipes and all this amazing other stuff like the feeder and all these other things next week. Appreciate you guys tuning in, checking out the Korean Natural Farming office hours. Check out the Pure KNF Foundation, knfsupport.com to find this episode and all the office hour episodes, and great community and get, the Goof Man answering questions. I answer questions there fairly often and all that. So thanks. Thanks. I'll try and have a good week. Hopefully I'm going to get better. Hopefully I'm going to be more energized. I can work on my projects. But love you all. Want to, you know, encourage you to do what you're doing. Keep natural farming growing, spread it, teach it, ferment some things, get these things. So appreciate you all around the world. George, Goofman, I really, yeah. Anyway, I will see you next week, July, 9th or whatever. Cool. I'll see ya. Love you. Bye. Oh, you know what? It brought me back to this one. I do that and then I'm like, oh, you know what? It didn't do it. It didn't do it. It went, I'm going to do it this way and just say, love you guys. All right, bye.